Hey guys, I hope you can see this. This stack is mostly what I read in June, and there's a few in here that I'm going to be reading for the rest of this month. So I wanted to do a really quick review of the books that I did read, and then show you the ones that I am still planning on reading for the rest of the month of June. So let's go! Okay guys, I gotta put this down. Whew. Okay, I'm back. That was a lot of books. I was surprised I read so many for the month of like ending of May into June. June kind of just like snuck up on me. Yeah, I can't believe it's summer already. Yeah, and I'm wearing a sweater. I know it's summer, but we have AC in the house, so I'm going for the cozy look. Wanted to show you something. A mug from my collection. Wait, I don't know if you guys can see it. Okay. Working hard so my dog can have a better life. Oh yeah, story of my life. Okay, let me take a sip. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Hey guys. So this is the first book that I wanted to share with you. It's called Good Material by Dolly Alderton. And I actually read her other book called Ghosts. I think I have it. Hold on. Yep, I do. So I actually purchased this book. This is her other book, Ghosts. And I really enjoyed it. So when I saw that she came out with this one, I picked it up at the library. So, Good Material is about a couple, Andy and Jen, and it's primarily broken up into the Andy's perspective of the relationship and how it's basically falling apart. So he goes through basically what every one of us goes through in a breakup, which is you're just sad, you're depressed, you're constantly thinking about texting the person at all hours of the night, even though you know that you really shouldn't be texting them, hanging out with friends and getting drunk, talking about how the breakup has, affected you so far. And then he also kind of reflects on the relationship itself. This book was quite funny. There were Okay guys, my dog just burped. I don't know if you heard that, but he just burped. Okay. So like I said, the book did have a lot of humorous aspects to it. I think because I could see myself. I mean, we've all been through breakups, so I kind of saw myself in Andy's position where, you're just like this sad, depressed person moping around, and your friends are trying to help you, but they're like, dude, like, can you get over it already? And then there's a small bit at the end, like I said, majority of the book is from Andy's perspective, and then towards the end you get Jen's perspective of the relationship. But it's not just the relationship that is discussed in this book. It's also Andy's relationship with his mom, with his friends, and a man that he is like renting a room from. And so you kind of see like this growth, Andy's growth from breakup till way after breakup. So the title Good Material is in reference to Andy's job as a comedian, and his friend, fellow comedian, had told me, hey, you should really put your breakup in your routine, in your stand-up routine. And for a long time he was like, no, he was resistant to the idea. So the term Good Material is in reference to his material for his stand-up routine. But I won't go into any more of that. You'll have to read it. I would give this book a solid 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, has a lot of good laughs in it, and also, but you just feel for both of them, Andy and Jen, going through all the emotions of a breakup. Hey guys, so the second book is Free Food for Millionaires, written by Min Jin Lee. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because this author also wrote Pachinko. I do have Pachinko in my collection. And this was a really popular book, which is why I had decided to get my hands on this one. This was written before Pachinko. So this story follows a Korean American family. The main character is Casey, and her parents immigrated from Korea to New York. So Casey and Tina, her younger sister, are both around college age. Casey has just graduated from Princeton College, and her sister Tina, I believe, is just entering college, like USC, I think, is where she's going, or Stanford. And so it follows Casey and her kind of tumultuous relationship with her Korean American or Korean parents, and their relationship is quite rocky, and probably I would say maybe like estranged a little bit, where she doesn't have the best relationship with her father. So she grew up in a rich people circle. She went to Princeton. Her friends and her cohort were rich, white, young people. So she's accustomed to going to high-end restaurants, country clubs and whatnot. But when she graduates from Princeton and she decides not to pursue a law degree, she really has to scrounge around for money. And so we follow her, and she's like living basically off of credit cards. So she's in deep credit card debt. We follow her romantic life, ups and downs of her romantic life, and just her career in general. You're just following her, like, where is she going with her career? She doesn't really even know either. She thinks she should be doing going into one field because it'll make her rich, but does she really enjoy it? And that's her internal struggle. Should she go to business school? That's a main part of her life too. So yeah, it follows kind of her struggle, financial struggles, her just growing up and seeing or finding out what she thinks is important for her life, and then also her kind of tenuous relationship with her parents. So if you like that kind of familial drama type story, I think you'll like this. I give it a 3.5, only because there were sections of this book that dragged, and I did have to skim some sections, and I felt like the sections I did skim did not affect my overall picture of the story. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but again, there were some areas that I felt could have been shortened. Okay, so the third book I read is How to Read a Book, and this is written by Monica Wood, and I actually was pleasantly surprised by this book. It's about these three people whose lives are all connected. So I'm not giving any spoilers. This is right in the blurb in the book. So one of the main characters, she has just been released from prison after she had been involved in a drunk driving crash that killed a woman. And the second character is a retired English teacher who is now like running a book club out of the prison that this other woman was in. And then the third character, he was married to the woman that was killed in that drunk driving accident. So you can kind of see where it's going. Their three lives converge in one small town in Maine, I believe. So you get to see each person individually and their backstory, and then how all of them come together and what their relationship is like. I will say that this book was somewhat predictable, only because you already knew what was going to happen, but it wasn't predictable in a bad way. It wasn't like where you're like, oh, I already know what's gonna happen, so what's the point in reading it? I felt it helped the story because you're like, okay, you know they're gonna come together, but how are they all gonna react to each other? And that's really what made this book very really just a heartwarming read. And it was quick. I finished it maybe in like a few days. So the only criticism I would have of the book is I wish it was more. I wish there was more longer about the like character development. It ended kind of abruptly, at least for me it did. I wish I had more chapters on the characters and how their relationship evolved. But overall, I thought this was really good. It was a heartwarming story, kind of just based off of forgiveness, starting over, and friendship, really, and just how people can come together despite a tragedy. So I recommend. I give this like a 4.5 stars. Definitely recommend. Okay, guys. So the next book I read was Daughters of Shandong, written by Chung. And this book is about the Communist Party taking over China in the late 1940s. And so we're following a family, primarily women. So it's the mother and her 3 daughters trying to escape Qingdao to Hong Kong and then eventually to Taiwan. So they have to make this arduous trek on foot to get to these points to kind of like outrun the Communist Party. And so we're following them. They have no money, they have no food, they basically just have the clothes on their back and living off of kindness of strangers, scraps. And so the mom is like the backbone of this family, really pushing the daughters like, hey, we need a better life. We need to get to Hong Kong. We need to get to Taiwan, to escape the communists. This story really shows the strength of the mother, really pushing her daughters to make it, to get to Hong Kong, and then ultimately to Taiwan to safety. I would recommend this if you like historical fiction, Chinese history. I will say that this book I felt could have been better. I felt it could have had maybe more information about, I guess, the communists and the Communist Party and how it really had an effect on the communities that they were invading. But overall, this was okay. This was an okay book. I got through most of it. The end kind of, I almost was losing interest towards the end. I would give this maybe, I don't know, 2.5, 3 stars. 3 stars. Yeah, we'll go with 3. It wasn't terrible, but like I said, I wish it was more in depth, gave more detail about the actual historical facts of what was happening during that time. Hey guys, so the next book I read is Real Americans by Rachel Khong. And we're following a young woman who is working as an unpaid intern in New York at a media company. And she meets a young man at her company Christmas party. And it turns out he is the nephew of her boss. And they couldn't be any different, right? She's always scrounging for money because she's unpaid. And he's a very wealthy young man. His family is very wealthy. And so they end up in a relationship. And so you kind of see their differences, I guess, not only culturally, but just the way that they live, and the way they were brought up. So the first part of the book is about their relationship. And that's where I DNF'd this. The part where I DNF'd it was when the author stopped telling the story from Lily's perspective and then jumped to telling the story from the perspective of Lily's son. So to me, I was not ready to move on from the Lily character. I wanted to know more about her. I wanted to know more about her relationship with Matthew. That's the man that she was in a relationship with. I don't know. She was going through like some internal struggles with the relationship, but I just felt like that wasn't really, there was no deep dive into that. So I didn't really connect with her and her decisions and why she was feeling the way she was. I guess she was conflicted maybe about staying in a relationship with him. So when the author switched points of views in the book, I wasn't feeling it. I was like, oh, I wasn't ready mentally to move on to this other character. So I kind of just lost interest. I may have DNF'd it prematurely. I did skim through kind of the rest of the book just to see if anything caught my interest again, but nothing really did. So I can't really tell you how it ends. I'm sorry. So let me ask you this, guys. When do you DNF a book? At what point? Do you ever DNF a book? I feel like because I borrow my books from the library, I haven't paid money for a book. So I don't feel obligated, like, oh, I just spent $30 on this book, so I have to finish reading it. I don't have that guilt hanging over me. So I tend to, if something loses my interest, I'll DNF it almost right away. I won't force myself. There's so many other books to read that I don't want to force myself to finish reading a book if I'm already bored with it or it just, I lose interest. So you guys tell me, when do you DNF a book and why? So I'm sad to say I DNF'd this book, and if you finished it, please tell me if you liked it. Maybe I'll pick it up again in the future. Maybe it's just my mindset. Sometimes you read similar books and you're like, I'm kind of bored. So I don't know if that was it, and if I just have to read something of a different genre and then go back to this one and see maybe my opinion will change. But I'm sorry, guys, I did not finish this book. So these last two books are my last two remaining books that I want to read for June. And this one is a new genre for me, I think. I think it's classified as fantasy. The library put it as a fantasy book. If you guys read this, is it fantasy? I read Babel by R.F. Khong. Is that considered fantasy? If so, then I did read Babel and I really enjoyed that book. So I kind of got Babel vibes from this just from reading the blurb. Again, I haven't read it yet, but it says here in the back, secrets, betrayal, seduction, power. Welcome to the Alexandrian society. Okay. So, it sounds like there's it says here, a secret society. Only 6 talented magicians are selected to earn a place in the Alexandrian society. Okay, so there's some magic in here. Sounds like school maybe, or a secret club of some kind of magicians, talented magicians. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this. Again, it's fantasy, not really my favorite genre, but I'm giving it a shot. So that's on my TBR. I'll probably be reading this very shortly. Hey guys, so my other TBR is A Great Country by Shilpi, Somaya, Gowda. I don't really know too much about this book. I think I saw this maybe on like Goodreads. You know how sometimes they'll show new releases. So I just put this on my list of holds at the library. So I can't really say too much about what this is, but according to one of the I guess, reviews on the back. In a great country, the author has crafted a moving story of an immigrant family's challenges in the wake of their son's troubling arrest. Each character and situation is drawn with heart and nuance, resulting in a masterful portrayal of the pressures on and prejudices of well-meaning people. Right and wrong, good and bad. If only life were so simple. This is a thought-provoking, truly worthwhile book. Sounds pretty intriguing to me. So this is going to be on my TBR. If you've read this, let me know if you liked it. It's not a very big book, so I don't think it'll take me too long to read it, but I'll report back on both of these in another review shortly. But that's my video for today, guys. Hopefully it wasn't too rambly. It was kind of a lot of books to go through. So leave any comments if you read any of the books that I read, if you liked them, or if you have any suggestions for what is it, July. July is coming up pretty quick, so I have some more books on hold at the library. But I don't know, you know, when you have them on hold, you just don't know when they're going to be available. So I can't really say what my upcoming books will be because I don't know when they're going to be available. So I might have to just you know, do some investigating in the library and find some interesting books that are currently on the shelves. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me. And I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.